The monster in this 1959 science fiction film is a shadow cast by a lobster on a glass plate. Not a model, not a suit, not a puppet. A real lobster lit from below, its silhouette stretched across a miniature set. That shadow is the alien creature threatening all of Earth, and Warner Bros. Still distributed it. The film is called Teenagers from Outer Space. On the surface, it looks like every other cheap drive and throwaway from that era, and in some ways it is. But the story of how it got made is genuinely stranger than anything happening on screen. One man made this movie. His name was Tom Grafe. He wrote it, directed it, produced it, shot it, edited it, and played the lead role himself. Every meaningful creative decision in Teenagers from Outer Space came from one person working with almost nothing. Grafe was not an outsider. He had worked in Hollywood as an assistant on legitimate productions and understood how the industry operated. He also knew he had essentially no budget, so he improvised. Locations were borrowed or negotiated. His own apartment appears in the film. The cast was made up of unknowns willing to work for very little. The plot involves an alien race scouting Earth as a feeding ground for their livestock, enormous creatures called Degons. The aliens land. One of them decides humans are worth saving. A chase follows. The film needs a monster. A real, screen-filling, city-crushing monster. And Grafe had no money to build one, so he bought a lobster. He placed it on a glass plate, shone a light up through the glass, and filmed the shadow it cast onto a miniature set below. Enlarged and projected over tiny buildings, that shadow becomes the Degon. It is a stroke of pure necessity, and it actually works if you let it. Here is where the story crosses into genuinely improbable territory. Tom Grafe took this film with its borrowed locations and grocery store monster and walked it into Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Said yes. They picked it up for nationwide distribution in 1959 and sent it to drive-in theaters across the country. The drive-in circuit in 1959 was hungry for content. Teenagers in cars wanted something on the screen, and studios were happy to supply it. Teenagers from Outer Space fit the bill. It played alongside other low-budget genre pictures, and for a brief window, Tom Grafe was a real Hollywood director. Then something shifted. In late 1959 and into 1960, Grafe began sending letters and press releases to Los Angeles newspapers. The letter stated, in plain and earnest language, that he was Jesus Christ, the Son of God, and that he was prepared to serve humanity. This was not a publicity stunt. Grafe legally changed his name to Thomas Grafe Jesus Christ. He meant every word. The Hollywood world that had briefly noticed him had no framework for that, and so it moved on without him. Grafe lived quietly for years after, almost entirely outside public life. His film kept surfacing the way forgotten things did in that era: late-night television, regional broadcasts, bargain bins. A thing that existed, seen by people who stumbled across it and rarely knew who made it. Tom Grafe died in 1977. By then, almost no one connected the man to the film, and almost no one would have known his name if they had. Because the copyright on Teenagers from Outer Space was never renewed after its initial term expired, the film passed into the public domain. No studio stepped in, no estate filed paperwork, no one moved to hold on to it. It now belongs to anyone who wants to watch it, which is the only reason most people alive today have ever heard of Tom Grafe. The full film is on the Internet Archive right now, free in multiple transfers. The picture quality is what you would expect from a print that spent decades being duplicated and broadcast and taped and digitized. It looks like a memory of itself. And the lobster shadow still holds. What Grafe pulled off in 1959 is easy to laugh at and genuinely hard to replicate. He wrote, shot, and delivered a feature film from almost nothing, convinced a major studio to release it, and then stepped completely off the map. The film outlasted him. It will outlast most things. If you want more stories like this one, the films the history books glossed over and the archive quietly kept, the reelvault goes looking for them every week. Follow along. There are a lot more lobsters where that came from.